So, welcome back, part two. We are cutting this ratchet hair off.
And today I'm here with my lovely model and friend Kyra Alexis. Her Instagram will be linked down below. Today we will be doing a little transformation on her. If you guys have not watched her makeup video, go ahead and click the link in the cards above because I posted that last week. Where have you been? Today we will be giving her a bob, okay? A little bob. She recently colored her hair blonde and she is just ready to take some inches off. She wants to be short and cute. So, like I like to tell you guys, I am still in cosmetology school. Not everything I do will be perfect. Right now, I'm cutting it a little bit longer because it's so important to always cut longer because you can always go as short as the clients want, but you cannot put their hair back on their head. So that is why I'm cutting it longer than she wanted. As you can see, I'm cutting the hair with wave in it, which is something else that I would not recommend. But it was okay because I am the type of girl that is a perfectionist a little bit. So I was going to flat iron at the end and perfect the cut, but as long as you're pulling the hair, it's okay. Like, it's only a little bit of wave, and I knew I wasn't trying to get it perfect. So right here, I am letting her check it, and she's like, I want it shorter. As you can see, read her lips, and I went a little bit shorter. It's so important to let the client see the work. Don't just sit here and say you don't want to stress them out so you don't show them. No, show them what's going on with their head. So right now, I'm cutting it a little bit shorter, pulling the hair and cutting beneath my fingers like that. My mom was in the room, you know, helping me, guiding me, and I was so happy that this was a friend. This is not like a client or anything, so she knew that I was still just practicing, but this came out really good, as you're gonna see in the end. So I'm just going around, and I try to move my body with the cut. If you stay stationary, then you're going to make certain parts of the hair longer because that's going to cause over direction. So as I moved to the side of her head, I kind of like moved with where I'm pulling the hair from. So she's checking it again and she's like, okay, we can go a little bit shorter. So right now I'm bringing it to the bottom of her neck and I'm just cutting a good amount of hair off, just like that, cutting some more. And it's important not to cut past your second knuckle, and by saying that just means, you know, don't try to cut everything in your hand, because one, you're going to cut yourself, and two, it's not going to be precise, because as you're going to see later in the video, my mom is going to help me with positioning my fingers, because it's so hard for you to keep your fingers leveled and not have them raised, and once again that's going to cause some elevation that is unneeded. But we're going to go in and fix that. Right now I am still working on this level, and if it's hard for you to cut thicker hair, you can section the hair more, but you know, I was working with a pretty moderate size section. Now I'm going to take out another thin section and just bring it all down to my guide, because now that first piece that I cut is my guide. So I'm just cutting that all to one length, straight like that. I'm just continuing to cut around the head, bringing everything to my guide, making sure I'm moving with the guide, because a bob is a very precise cut. Do not think you can stand in one section and just cut a whole bob. No, not when you want the bob to be all equal lengths. So sorry for my bad camera angles. I'm still working on this. This was my first time, you know, recording myself doing hair or makeup on other people. I'm so used to just recording myself. So yeah, bear with me. And like I said, right now the cut is not going to be perfect because of the wave in her hair. Right now I'm just trying to cut off most of her length. Her hair is really thick, so I didn't want to flat iron it all, then cut it all. And we were trying to use less heat as possible. Just cutting, just keep cutting. Now we're to the top last section, and I'm just going to bring that all down to the bottom and cut that off. It was out of frame, that's why I skipped past it. But now I moved on to the side, and I'm just using that back as my guide for the side. And as you can see, I keep moving her head because the head has to be up, otherwise it will not be even. So I keep positioning her how I need her to be, and I'm just cutting it all to that one length. Now I'm bringing down that last section and cutting it down to the right length. And it's so important to keep your hand down and keep your fingers level. Like I said, that is what I need to work on some more, because as you're going to see, this side is going to be a little bit shorter than the other, so I'm going to have to go back and fix that. But like I said, it's alright because I kept the bob longer than she wanted it anyway. So I'm doing the same thing that I did on the other side to this side, and as you can see, I'm kind of bending the hair. It is so important to keep the hair straight, especially when you're doing a bob. This is not just like a normal trim, it has to be a little bit more perfect. So I'm bringing it all down to one length and cutting and evening that all out, cutting all the little stray hairs. And right there, she's pointing out that the other side looks a little bit more fuller because one of the sides of her hair is thinner than the other. So right now on the thick side, I'm gonna go in and thin out the hair. Now, when you're thinning out the hair, never take from the top, always take from the middle of their head, and do not thin towards the top. Thin towards the mid shaft, towards the end, because you're going to be taking out way too much of these people's hair. So right now I'm going through and I am flat ironing her hair to get it nice and straight. And as I flat iron, I'm going through and evening out the cut, getting real precise and making sure that my fingers are level. And my mom was showing me that when I'm cutting, make sure her head is all the way down and make sure that I'm only using 2 fingers and not my whole hand. That's another way to make sure that the scissors are gliding along your fingers to ensure that your line is straight. So I'm just going to flat iron this next piece and check it again, make sure it is all even. So right here, I am checking it again, standing in front of her, making sure that everything is even. And now I see that, like I said, one side of her hair is a little bit thinner than the other. So on the thick side, I'm going to thin it out some more. Like, we're just going to keep thinning it out until it's her desired thickness. So that's what you see me doing. And I keep adding a little bit more hair from the top, but I'm still not doing that top section. So now it is starting to look a little bit better, but I'm still going to do a little bit more thinning, and it's all about what your client wants. So now I'm figuring out how I want to, connect the cut a little bit more, because as you can see, her back is way too long compared to the front. So right now I'm doing scissor undercomb, I think it's called, or like scissor overcomb, one of those all around, just to make sure that my line is super straight, and I'm cutting off that hair that is laying on her back, because we want it to be like resting on her shoulders, a little bit above her shoulders. So that's what my mom is helping me with right now. And as you can see, it's already looking better. We told her to shake her head really hard, because when you're displacing the hairs, it's making it more easy for you to cut off everything that may come up when your client goes home. They be like, oh, this piece is uneven, it's not right. Shaking their head and making everything fall differently is what helps you to find all the long pieces and all the stragglers that have not been cut. Changing the part also helps with that, so we gave her a nice side part to see how it looks to cut, and I think it came out gorgeous. These are the results. Like, she was feeling it. Her makeup was done, her hair was slayed, and it just made the blonde pop even more to me. This was so gorgeous. She is gorgeous. Make sure you're following her on Instagram at Kyra Alexis, and make sure you're following me on Instagram at Everything by Maja. We will be linking up soon. Let me know if you like these type of videos, because I will definitely keep them coming. I'll see you guys in my next one.